When asked to look at the lights for Sting at a Saturday Night TV taping the following day, Levesque said enough is enough and turned down the assignment.
Bro, just to look at this and Sting in the future, Triple H is a weird person when it comes to behind the scenes.
Oh, what's up? Oh, what's up?
It's Majay back here with another video. Today we're about to begin into a video by Cultaholic Wrestling. The video is going to be on 10 more wrestlers who refuse to do the job. Ah, man, it's always a bundle, a list of this, and there's like always key reasons of why people refuse to do the job. Either probably they don't like the wrestler, either them and the wrestler do not connect or something, or it's just not right in the moment. They don't want to drop a championship. It's a tale of a old thing, basically, is what I'm saying. But before we get into this, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you've been enjoying my WWE reactions, and let's just get straight into it.
Medal in judo at the 1976 Olympics and was known throughout the wrestling industry as a bronze medal in judo as a legit tough guy who was not to be messed with. Okay. Dusty Rhodes. Alan Kogue won a bronze medal in judo at the 1976 Olympics and was known throughout the wrestling industry as a legit tough guy who was not to be messed with. Wrestling as Bad News Brown during the late 70s and early 80s, Kogue encountered racism within the industry and typically made a point to make a stand against it, which included an incident where he confronted Andre the Giant on the New Japan bus after overhearing the eighth wonder of the world using racial epithets. According to Bad News, Dusty Rhodes was another person who would use racist language in the locker room. This was the reason Brown refused to put the American Dream over during a tag match for New Japan in December of 1980.
I mean, hey, as a black man, I'm going to have to respect that, bro. Refusing to put somebody over because like you heard them say some racist ass shit, especially back in the 80s, bro, where a lot of shit was heavily racist, bro. And this dude deserves a round of applause to stand up to Andre the fucking Giant. That nigga, bro, that's some brave feats in itself. Standing up to a giant at all is just fucking brave as fuck, bro. But he got my respect.
Bad News was set to team with Stan Hansen against Rhodes and Antonio Inoki in a 2 out of 3 falls tag team main event. New Japan bookers had asked Brown to let Dusty pin him, to which he said no, and told Rhodes the reason was because he straight up didn't like him. Inoki ended up scoring the pin on Bad News, while Brown and Hansen spent much of the match beating the stuffing out of the plumber's son. Number 9, Booker T to Matt Morgan. When a wrestler's on their way out of a territory or promotion, they usually want to get the maximum out of that wrestler before they leave, and that, more often than not, means getting them to do jobs. Booker T understood that he'd be asked to do the favor as his TNA deal was winding down and wasn't exactly surprised when they requested that he put over Matt Morgan during his last set of TV tapings on October 6, 2009. Per Booker, he was happy to do it when the loss would come at the end of a competitive match thanks to interference by Kurt Angle. However, shortly before showtime, Booker was informed that plans had changed and that he was expected to lose cleanly in a shorter match. Feeling blindsided and disrespected, he told TNA officials he wasn't gonna do it. Then they came back to him later and said that they would do things the original way, but the 5-time WCW champion told them that option was off the table now as well, and that he was taking the day off instead, sucker. Booker finished up with the company at Bound for Glory 12 days later. Number 8, Steve.
Hey man, don't try to switch up plans where everything was just like fucking, a done deal. Don't go back on your deal if y'all planned this shit out, especially like last minute. I mean that's hella annoying in every type of field, bro. If you're gonna do something and you're gonna change that shit at the last minute, don't get me involved, man. You gotta respect Booker for sticking to his principles and then doubling down and sticking to his principles when these fools try to go back. Okay, we'll do it your way, Booker. Nah, don't do that now, bruh.
Steve Williams to Vampiro. In 1998, Dr. Death Steve Williams was signed by WWE with a view to making him a challenger for WWE champion Steve Austin. Unfortunately, Williams got obliterated in the Brawl for All and never quite recovered before being let go. His WWE run may have been a major disappointment, but WCW were happy to have him, especially if he could play a part in Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara's mean-spirited burial of WWE announcer Jim Ross. Managed by Oklahoma, who was played by Ferrara, Williams entered into a feud with Vampiro, which saw him take on Jerry Only of the Misfits in a cage match, and people wondered why Nitro's ratings were in the toilet at the time. But when it came time to put over Vampiro in the big blow-off at Starrcade 99, Williams told WCW to shove it. His reason for doing so was that he was due to return to All Japan shortly after and felt that a high-profile loss on pay-per-view would diminish his aura in the eyes of the Japanese fans. And since nobody was going to tell Dr. Friggin' Death what to do, a new disqualification finish was concocted for what turned out to be his final WCW match. Number 7,
Hey, I'd rather take it. I mean, I guess if somebody think they're gonna look good in another company, I guess like you can't really say no to that. But honestly, I don't know. It's just like the most respectable thing that just do the job. You're not gonna be wrestling in the company anymore. I'm pretty sure like a lot of people in New Japan are really not paying attention to the aura you had over there in WCW. Because I think a lot of like people from Japan don't even be like watching a lot of American wrestling. Probably for WWE, so only a subsection.
Bret Hart to Dean Malenko. Misused from the off and then shockingly left to rot in the mid-card for the longest time, Bret Hart's WCW run was a major disappointment and a prime example of the promotion's ineptitude during that period. The Hitman encountered challenges at every turn, including when he was injured in a match with Dean Malenko on the November 23rd, 1998 episode of Nitro. The man of 1,000 holds won that one via disqualification, but the manner in which Bret injured his groin after Dean dropped him on the top rope for a superplex soured him on working with Malenko again in the future. So, with that in mind and still needing surgery to repair his groin, Hart said no to putting over Malenko in a planned tag match on the March 8th, 1999 Nitro. Per Bret's RF video shoot interview, the original creative for that night was a tag match that would have ended with him submitting to the Iceman's Texas Cloverleaf, but he refused. And so, in his last televised match before going under the knife, the excellence of execution went 10 minutes with Van Hammer instead.
Damn.
10 whole minutes with Van Hammer! He must have really bloody hated Malenko. Number 6, Lex Luger to Sting. With WCW and ECW going out of business in early 2001, there was really only one game in town if wrestlers wanted to work for a major promotion. For various reasons, Lex Luger was one of the few who was not going to be working for the McMahons, and he didn't wrestle for more than a year and a half after WWE bought WCW. The Total Package's first in-ring action came courtesy of the World Wrestling All-Stars Group, an upstart promotion who primarily toured the UK and Australia. At WWA's The Retribution pay-per-view, Luger pinned his best mate Sting to become the 5th WWA World Heavyweight Champion. The plan was for him to hold it until the next tour in 2003, but Lex had done such a good job of annoying the promoters that they quickly decided to put the belt back on Sting and cancel Luger's future dates. So Lex was asked to drop the title to Sting at a show in Zurich, Switzerland 7 days after he won it, but he refused to lose. As a compromise, Malice, aka The Wall, was inserted into the equation, and the match was turned into a triple threat, enabling Luger to avoid properly taking the L. Number 5, Shawn.
I mean, you still took the L at the end of the day, but I guess it was probably during a fucking triple threat where I guess the other guy got pinned. Well, took the pin. But like, I can understand not wanting to lose a damn championship within like 7 days just because you got like a bad reputation with like a certain wrestling company, and they're the ones who put the championship on you. So like, just like tank all the bad shit and like leave him as champion. That would fucking annoy me. Jean-Paul Levesque to Sting. Oh,
Jean-Paul Levesque to Sting. In early January of 1995, Jean-Paul Levesque gave notice to WCW that he would be leaving the company and going to WWE. Despite being offered an improved contract and a promised reign with the tag titles, Levesque decided to bet on himself and take his chances up north, believing WWE had a stronger track record when it came to creating stars. WCW Senior Vice President Eric Bischoff was said to be fuming at young Jean-Paul's decision, feeling that he'd plucked him out of obscurity and given him a shot in the big time. Realizing that one of his future prospects was on the way to the competition, Bischoff then booked Levesque to do jobs for Dustin Rhodes and Alex Wright in matches taped for Saturday nights and main event on January 10th. When asked to look at the lights for Sting at a Saturday night TV taping the following day, Levesque said enough is enough and turned down the assignment. Sting instead.
Bro, just to look at this and like see for the future and how they still did Sting in the future. Bro, this is just like full circle bullshit, bro. Full circle bullshit is me like, still Triple H not putting him over like years later at that little fucking WrestleMania, bro. They had so many people, all the old MWO people come, yeah, DX come, and they still let Sting lose. You couldn't like honor him, being a winner in his like first match in WWE ever, honestly, and let him win that shit. Like, I don't even think Sting even won one match in WWE when he started. I mean, at least I don't remember, bro. I gotta re-see that like whole run. But like, I feel like this is just like some bullshit, bro. And like Triple H is a weird person when it comes to behind the scenes. But I feel like these whole two situations that really kind of connected. And I don't know if he really didn't like Sting. He no, that shows that he really didn't like Sting.
Teamed with Rhodes and Randy Savage to beat the Stud stable. Don't worry, Levesque, I'm sure you'll get a chance to do right by Sting, say, 20 years later? Oh. Number 4, Greg Valentine to Sting. Jesus Christ, lads, did you all just have it in for poor old Steve or what? Greg Valentine's run with WWE came to an end in early 1992, and he quickly signed for WCW. He wasn't pushed as a main event star or anything, but the Hammer was a solid hand and was good for a reign as one half of the United States Tag Team Champions. Valentine's fortunes changed somewhat when Bill Watts came in as the head booker that June, and he started losing more matches than he was winning. A bit part player in the grand scheme of things, Valentine was asked to put over Sting in a 4-minute televised match for the worldwide show that October. Firstly, it usually took Valentine about 20 minutes just to get going, so that wasn't gonna work. Second, he wasn't booked to get his heat back with a post-match angle or rematch later on, so Greg, who to his credit has never hidden his hatred of doing jobs, told Cowboy Bill to find someone else and walked out of WCW. The Barbarian ended up taking his spot in the Sting match. Number 3.
Damn, what's up with the Sting hate, bro? Jesus Christ. Earlier in the day, bro, these people did not like Sting for like what reason?
One Man Gang to PN News. After his run as Akeem came to an end, One Man Gang was back to his old self after getting called up by WCW. Far from the world title contender he'd been in previous years, Gang during this run would mainly be used to put over other up-and-coming stars like Ron Simmons and, El Gigante. One of the new acts that Gang was asked to do the favor for was rapping super heavyweight PN News. Having done a couple of countouts at house shows, Gang was told one night in Charleston, South Carolina.
Jesus, these people were like really fucking big fans of just like creating like, little white rappers that weren't even good. Well, white rapper wrestlers that weren't even like real good with the gimmick. I say like the only one who was like really good with the gimmick was John Cena, basically. That was pretty much it. But like they have not created like one like white rapper character in WWE or any other wrestling brand that's like actually cool, bro.
That he needed to lay down and take PN's top rope splash for the finish. Happening to be on a nightly deal as opposed to a full-time contract, Gang decided that he was tired of having his value, in his eyes, lowered and refused to go along with the script. His match with PN News that night ended in defeat, but only via disqualification. When he got back through the curtain, Gang was duly told to take a hike, with Abdullah the Butcher replacing him in the Chamber of Horrors match at the Halloween Havoc pay-per-view. He then left the business for 4 years before being brought back for the Dungeon of Doom storyline. Number 2, Steve Austin to Eric Watts. Later in his career, when he was riding high as the hottest thing in the business, Steve Austin turned down working programs with and losing matches against certain opponents as a way to protect his character and his spot on top. The first time Austin refused to put someone over, however, he was simply stunning rather than stone cold. Whilst working for WCW in November of 1992, Austin was asked to put over Eric Watts on a house show in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Not only was Watts the green, grossly overpushed kid of the booker Bill Watts, but Austin was starting to gather some steam and had been having great matches with the likes of Ricky Steamboat, Barry Windham, and Sting on the road. Feeling as though he was above getting beat by someone of Eric's skill and experience level, he told road agent Grizzly Smith that it wasn't gonna happen, and they wrestled to a 15-minute time limit draw instead. Dusty Rhodes told Austin days later that his refusal to put Watts over had almost cost him his job, but Austin simply flipped Dusty off, stomped a mud hole in him, and filled his office full of cement. At least that's what I assume happened anyway. And number 1,
I mean, hey, bro. If a dude cannot wrestle and you see that his skill is just like really low, bro, and like you've been doing like a good ass job, I don't see why not like deny that shit, bro. And even if it wasn't the same Steve Austin that we know today, bro, like just to have that like little confidence in yourself, I got some respect, man.
Disco Inferno to Jacqueline. Dancing Goof Disco Inferno was a perfectly fine mid-card act for WCW during the 90s. It's become fashionable to dunk on Glenn Gilberti in recent years, and rightfully so, but Disco was entertaining enough in his role at the time. Go on, admit it. Though he was basically a bit of comedic relief, Disco himself felt it would not do his career any good to lose a match against Jacqueline, which is what Eric Bischoff had booked for him to do at Uncensored 97. Despite the majority of the locker room reportedly supporting Disco's decision, Bischoff fired him while telling Gilberti that he would never have another job where he made 80 grand a year for the rest of his life. Of course, time heals all wounds, and Disco Inferno returned to WCW in September. Bischoff only agreed to bring him back, however, on the condition that he finally do a job for Jacqueline on pay-per-view. And so, Disco, who'd been booked to win the TV title by creative team ally Terry Taylor in an attempt to dissuade Bischoff, ultimately lost to Jacqueline at Halloween Havoc in a non-title match that turned out to be Miss Jackie's only televised WCW outing.
That's fucking crazy. You get brought back in just to literally fucking lose the match you denied. Holy fucking shit, bro. That's some bullshit, bro. I honestly think that's some bullshit. I would have just like relied on my principle, but maybe the money was just too good at the time. But like, damn, pride aside, that's fucking annoying to deal with. But hey, man, hey, if you guys want to see more of this, and tell me what was your favorite situation below, bro. I respect the first one, and I respect the Stone Cold Steve Austin. And overall, I respect like people that got respect for themselves, and you know, were just willing to take that option and just like bet on themselves. The shit, you don't see a lot of that. But go check out Cultaholic's original video, and make sure you check out my other reactions on like WWE stuff and WWE in general, or wrestling stuff in general in the WWE tab. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys in the next video. We are on the road to 600.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?